nasci no ano da independência.
I was born in the year of independence, and thereby in the year that Angola's civil war also began.
Quase todos nós temos uma.
Practically every one of us has suffered a loss in the family, a victim of the war, of the conflict. My mother died in 1992 and my father in 94, which left us with our eldest brother as the head of the family. He worked as a journalist for freedom of the press. In 1999 he was murdered, tragically. At that time, feelings of revenge filled our hearts. Though other feelings also filled us. After our brother's death, we placed a plaque on his grave, which read, "God forgive his murderers, even though we do not know them personally. Make the blood sacrificed be joined with the blood of the many other victims of this Angolan conflict, so that they may finally become the seeds of peace, of an authentic reconciliation amongst Angolans."
Uma reconciliação autêntica entre os angolanos.
The story of Domingo's family, a young lawyer from Luanda, is similar to that of many thousand Angolan families. His generation is barely beginning to learn to live in peace. Even children continue to draw pictures of battle and play war games. Located in southwest Africa, this country's history is marked primarily by periods of conflict. The fight with slave traders, the 14-year War of Independence, as well as the nearly 30-year civil war which ended in 2002. Work for peace, reconciliation and justice remain a challenge that continues to confront Angolans. Angola is the fifth largest country on the African continent after Sudan, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Algeria and Libya. Its population of 16 million inhabitants includes 10 ethnic groups. Paradoxically, Angola is one of Africa's richest countries, as well as one of the poorest. It has the largest oil deposits south of the Sahara, as well as diamond, iron ore, copper, gold, phosphate and uranium, and yet around 70% of the population live for under $1 a day, mainly from agriculture. The first European to reach this land in 1482 was Portuguese explorer Diego Cao. Portuguese merchants traded ivory and gold with the locals to begin with, gradually expanding Portugal's power and influence, and in 1574 forced its rulers to recognize Lisbon's supremacy. The slave trade began soon after and involved large-scale deportations mainly to Brazil, Dominicana and Cuba, gaining Luanda the inauspicious position of one of the continent's largest slave transshipment ports.
A categorização dessas populações.
Segregation of the population came down to the Portuguese dividing the population into locals, assimilated, and civilized. Locals were Africans with no Portuguese education. People could pass from the local to the assimilated category by reaching 4th grade, as well as by adopting Portuguese customs. In 1975, around 90% of Angolans were illiterate.
Angola's War of Independence began in 1961, lasted 14 years and ended in 1975, when Angola became one of Africa's last countries to gain independence. Shortly afterwards, however, a civil war began between the MPLA government forces and guerrillas of the FNLA and UNITA. The Marxists' MPLA party, founded by Agostinho Neto, Angola's first president, was supported by the USSR, Cuba and China, as well as by the remaining countries of the Eastern Bloc. However, UNITA, founded by Jonas Savimbi, was supported by the Republic of South Africa, Zaire and the USA. For nearly 30 years, Angola was yet another pawn in the Cold War.
To była wojna ideologiczna.
It was an ideological war between two worlds. It was a war for wealth and influence, for status here, for oil. As somebody said, had the country been poor, the war here would definitely not have lasted for so many years.
My father died in the war. I also lost a brother. We only found his skeleton. We don't know how he died, but we do know that he was taken away from us to work with the opposition party. Only later did we realize that being 16 years old, he had been recruited into the army because military service was compulsory from 16 onwards.
I witnessed friends unexpectedly disappear. People die in abominable conditions, inhuman situations, because war leads to all kinds of evils: hunger, poverty, disorder, dishonesty, a breakup of family unity. War brings no positives, only negative consequences.
The negative consequences of war also left their mark on religious freedom. Angola was the first sub-Saharan country to have received Christianity, whilst the first local was christened in 1491. With the communist MPLA takeover of power and breakout of the civil war, difficult times began for the nearly 500-year-old Angolan Catholic Church. All schools were nationalized in 1975, seminaries were closed, Catholic radio stations liquidated, religious processions were forbidden, and the country was flooded with atheist propaganda.
Quando se deu a guerra de libertação em 1961, as autoridades
When the War of Independence began in 1961, the Portuguese authorities imprisoned many priests who were sympathetic towards the territory's independence. The Catholic Church and the majority of Christians soon became the people's advocate in matters related to the achievement of independence.
When we were colony, the government of Portugal did not permit the church to interfere in the social or political world. When the Marxism came, did not permit the church to interfere in any place, neither education, neither health, neither social work. We could not have gatherings outside of the church, and then we had to fight to maintain our rights of celebration. And the people never went away.
For example, we saw young people put their lives on the line in order to carry the catechism, encourage youth groups, in spite of the many dangers and suspicions that people gathering aroused in the war situation at the time. We met people who, finding themselves in such situations, left everything they had at home. They went to church to pray, in the knowledge that there they would find the strength for everything that is to come, to face all difficulties. All of this marked our faith. During the war, when the state confiscated all church structures because of the UNITA MPLA conflict, a temporary school was set up here. Guerrillas were near, and battles took place all around the mission. The people felt threatened, and so they ran away. The mission was then demolished and abandoned. Nearly 20 people died in one day during that attack.
With the outbreak of the Civil War, many missionaries, particularly Portuguese, were forced to leave the country. Many risked their lives and stayed in a country engulfed by war. Father Gil was one of those who remained with the people of Wakakongo for the whole duration of the Civil War.
Our cars served here to help. For example, to transport the ill to hospital. Thank God our car never drove over a landmine. One had to be careful of landmines, though catechists always warned us about them.